Deep in a small, isolated pocket of rainforest in North Sumatra, there is an ape we didn't even know existed until 2017. It's called the Tapanuli orangutan. Today, fewer than 800 of them are left on the entire planet. Because they are confined to such a microscopic geographic range, a single severe weather event, like a cyclone or a landslide, could wipe out the entire breeding population overnight. But the weather isn't the primary threat. Across Borneo and Sumatra, industrial agriculture is systematically clearing old-growth forests. As the canopy is logged and burned, adult orangutans are displaced or killed, leaving behind an overflowing generation of orphans. This creates a unique biological crisis. Unlike a sea turtle or a snake, an orangutan is not born with the instinct to survive. They have to learn everything. In the wild, an infant spends up to a decade clinging to its mother, studying how to navigate the canopy and forage for food. You can't just drop an orphaned ape back into the trees and expect it to live. Conservationists are now tasked with reverse engineering that entire decade of complex maternal education, literally teaching these animals how to be wild. At sanctuaries like Nyaru Menteng in Indonesia, local caregivers step in to act as surrogate mothers. The newest arrivals are often traumatized, requiring 24-hour emotional support, bottle feeding, and diaper changes. Here, infants begin nursery school. Caregivers build low wooden climbing frames just inches off the ground to help the apes develop basic motor skills. The babies practice moving side to side, gaining the coordination they need before attempting vertical climbs. Eventually, they hit a developmental milestone. They muster the courage to climb 5 or 6 feet up a slender tree. But because they haven't yet learned how to climb down, they usually freeze, screaming until a caregiver climbs up to rescue them. By ages 3 to 7, they enter forest school, where the curriculum shifts to predator avoidance. Caretakers will secretly hide a realistic rubber snake on a forest path, then scream and throw sticks at it to demonstrate the exact panic and evasion tactics the young apes need to mimic. At this stage, female babysitters are intentionally removed from the rotation and replaced by male technicians. These men offer far less physical comfort, a deliberate shift designed to forcibly break the ape's maternal dependency and force them to act independently. Technicians teach advanced survival mechanics. The apes learn to weave complex, secure sleeping nests high in the canopy, and they practice using specialized sticks to dig out termites or carefully extract honey from deep tree hollows. The entire 10-year curriculum relies on a harsh psychological progression. Humans carefully construct an artificial maternal bond with an orphaned animal, only to systematically sever that bond so the ape has no choice but to become a self-sufficient wild creature. The final stage of this process is orangutan university. Apes aged 8 and older are relocated to isolated river-bounded islands. Because orangutans cannot swim, the water acts as a natural barrier, allowing them to roam freely with almost zero human contact. To graduate, these apes must pass a brutal final exam. They have to prove they can independently forage and maintain their body weight through the stark resource fluctuations of both a heavy wet season and a scarce dry season. Those who succeed are sedated, fitted with subcutaneous tracking devices, and airlifted deep into the heavily protected national parks. They are officially and finally reintroduced to the wild. This decade-long pipeline is an incredible achievement in cross-species pedagogy. But it is running headfirst into a wall of grim mathematics. Conservationists are spending 10 years preparing these apes for a wild world that is being erased by the hour. Between 1973 and 2015, the island of Borneo lost 18.7 million hectares of old-growth forest, largely bulldozed to make way for monoculture crops. Because oil palm cultivation accounts for the vast majority of this expansion, the most common public reaction is to demand a total consumer boycott of palm oil. This chart compares land requirements for different vegetable oils. Oil palm is incredibly dense, producing 9 times more oil per hectare than alternatives like soy or canola. Substituting it would require 9 times more global agricultural land. Eliminating palm oil doesn't stop deforestation. It simply exports the land clearing to other vulnerable global ecosystems at a highly accelerated scale. The mathematically sound approach is demanding strict supply chain accountability. Frameworks like the Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil, or RSPO, explicitly prohibit new developments on high-carbon stock forests and peatlands, forcing companies to grow on already degraded land. This international standard sits in sharp contrast to national certifications like the ISPO and MSPO, which contain glaring loopholes that legally permit the continued clearing of carbon-rich secondary forests. But corporate standards mean very little without local legal enforcement. Between 2007 and 2019, there were over 2,000 recorded wildlife crimes against orangutans in Indonesia. Over 99% were committed domestically by locals, yet only 20 of those cases ever resulted in a conviction. In the rare event a poacher or smuggler is found guilty, the penalties are functionally non-existent, with fines dropping as low as $32. There is no structural deterrence to stop someone shooting an ape that wanders onto their farm. You cannot rescue a species out of an extinction event. Unless global supply chains uniformly mandate RSPO certification and local governments actively enforce their own wildlife laws, sanctuaries are fighting a losing battle. We are spending 10 years teaching orphans how to survive in a forest that we are actively refusing to protect.